thing. Yeah, I know, it's weird.
So how does it feel to be back here doing well?
Yeah, it definitely feels good to be back. This is my first time playing it in March. So I'm excited to play, and hopefully I can have a good tournament.
Coco, one of the beauties of tennis is it's such a global game. I just wondered, in the current environment, what's going on? What do you think the power of tennis is as a body to sort of make a statement?
Yeah, I think tennis is different from a lot of for us in the U.S., a lot of the other sports, because it's really global and it can reach all parts of the world. You know, basketball or American football aren't as common in other places. So tennis, I think, can have the power, or just sport in general, can have the power to bring everyone together. And I feel like, in sports, people just cheering for their opponent, or not their opponent, their team or their player, regardless of differences or anything like that.
I'm just curious what your take is on the feeling of the locker room with everything that's happening right now. Mm-hmm. You feel like people are united?
Yeah, I definitely think players are united and very supportive. I know WTA is doing, I think it's called Tennis United, the movement, and I think just in general, people just are being really supportive and just spreading love and spreading kindness.
Bill?
Hi, Coach.
Hi.
Somewhat in the same vein, a while back you gave that just incredible talk about racial justice. And now in your home state, the legislature has passed a legislation. You don't have to answer this, but my question is, what are your thoughts about the Don't Say Gay law disallowing teaching related to sexual orientation?
For me, I think, I'm going to just say I'm against it. I think that these conversations are important. And for me, who have friends in the LGBTQ plus community, I couldn't imagine not being able to talk about your identity and not be able to pass. I feel like that's something that is normal. And I feel like, from every person I've known that they were part of that community since they were young. So I think it's important that they have those conversations in school, because that is supposed to be a safe place to talk about everything. So for me, I think that it's important that we have these conversations. And like I said before, I think it was 2019 or 2020 when I talked about the Black Lives Matter movement, I said it was important to have those tough conversations. So same stance on this. I think it's important to have those tough conversations. And from the people that I spoke to, a part of the community, it definitely makes a difference when you don't have to hide who you are.
Next question for Russell.
Coco, how does it feel to be about to turn 18? And as somebody who's always aimed for the very top, what do you make of what you've achieved so far?
I'm excited to turn 18. No more having my parents having to fill out all my documents and stuff. So I'm excited for that. I'm still going to be my parents' kids or my parents' child regardless. But I think it's pretty incredible. It's been, I guess, 3 years since I really started playing on tour, and the time has gone by fast. I really can't believe I'm going to be, I guess, legally an adult, but my parents won't see me as one.
Yep, go ahead.
Hi, Coco.
Hi.
Randy Flores, NBC Palm Springs. You mentioned how it's important to have these conversations, tougher conversations, but you're part of the next generation of young tennis players. How important is it that you are a woman of color representing on an international stage? Last time you were here, your doubles partner was Leylah Fernandez, who's also up and coming and a woman of color. So why is that important to represent?
I think it's important just to have representation in everything, whether it's tennis or TV or anything really. And I think for me, as a kid, I just remember the power that the Williams sisters had for me, seeing myself on TV in a sport that not too many people like me play. So I think it's just important for kids especially to see themselves represented. Because if you don't, then you think you don't belong there, but you really do. You can belong anywhere you want to belong. I said that in the American Eagle campaign. I definitely believe that. So I think representation is important.
Hi, Coco. So an American hasn't won this event in singles in your lifetime.
Yeah, I know.
So I got to ask what that would mean to you to win this.
Yeah, I mean, Great. I mean, a lot of things. Not really because of that. I think for me, it was just pretty cool to win Indian Wells in general because that's a tournament that I've watched on TV since I was really young. Indian Wells in Miami, probably the two most popular tournaments outside of the slams, I think. So, yeah, it'll be pretty cool. And then obviously to be an American winning in a tournament that we haven't won in so long, and just winning on American soil would be pretty special.
Courtney?
Coco, hi, good to see you.
In person.
Crazy, right? Crazy.
Yeah.
But going off of Russell's question about turning 18, I'm curious, what makes you the proudest about what you have done the last 3 years? What stands out to you?
For me, honestly, it's not really the encore accomplishments. I think it's just more of how I've kind of accepted everything and kind of tried my best to be a good role model for kids. And, I feel like during this last 3 years, so much has happened in the world and even for me in my career. So I think I've done a decent job of just handling it all and making sure that I put on the best, I guess, role model kind of ish for people. Yeah, so that.
Hi, Coco. Bailey with ABC Palm Springs, and just curious on your thoughts on the aesthetics of the tennis garden. I mean, coming out here, seeing the snow-capped mountains, the beautiful scenery, having the grass field out there. It seems like a more relaxed vibe for you guys, and I've seen a lot of smiles this week.
Yeah, I think Indian Wells is probably one of the most relaxed tournaments, even though technically on the calendar it's one of the most important events. And I think definitely the scenery has a lot to do with that. I mean, always sunny here. We don't have mountains in Florida, so it's cool to see something different. And and the people here have been incredibly nice. I always say, I've only been here twice, but the 2 times I've been, the crowd has just been really nice and incredibly receiving.
Bonnie, and then Bill, and then Courtney.
Hi.
You've been on tour for 3 years, and I think it's safe to say there have been 3 very messy years
Yes.
worldwide.
Yeah.
I was wondering, how does your normality look like these days after having moved from being a teenager to a professional tennis player in this kind of environment? Have you found your own kind of routine tour-wise, or are you still adjusting to a new reality?
I think I'm still adjusting. I've actually thought about this the other day. I feel like I'm 2 completely different people when I'm at tournaments compared to where I'm at home. I feel like when I'm at tournaments, I'm definitely more confident and this is my world, tennis and everything. And then when I'm at home, I'm just because it's being with my friends and being with just regular people. So I think that it's definitely a difference between being home and being on tour. But yeah, I think it's something that I'm still trying to find the balance of. But I think now I'm more understanding of just everything, the pressures and, the media and everything. I think I'm doing a good job of just trying to focus on me and focus on the moment ahead of me.
Bill?
You just spoke very nicely about here in Indian Wells, but it was also announced today that you're going to be going to San Jose.
Yes.
And I think it's your first time.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about your thoughts about going to San Jose? Give us some love on.
Yeah. I'm super, super excited to play San Jose. It's going to be my first time there. And I've never been, but from the tournament, from on TV, it looks like a nice place. I actually never been to San Jose, Cali anyways. So, yeah, honestly, I have not much thoughts about it yet, except that I'm excited to play. And it's, of course, being in the United States, playing a tournament at home definitely means a lot. So, yeah, I'm excited.
Coco, obviously big news on the tour this week with the signing of a title sponsor in Hologic, and I'm just kind of curious if you had any thoughts or reactions to that announcement.
No, I think it's super cool. The partnership, I think, is super cool. I think it's something that women's tennis kind of needs, and I'm excited. I don't really know what they have planned or anything, so I can't speak on that. But I think it's a great partnership for the tour, and I know a lot of players are excited to kind of use their stuff. They've been giving out some freebies, I'm excited, and hopefully this is I don't know what the deal is, but hopefully it's a long-term kind of partnership.
Any more questions? Last question?
Coco, we talked with Lindsay Davenport last week, that same question about the American title drought here. And your name was one of the first that came up, and she said it's not a question of if you're going to win big titles, it's more a question of when. You're working too hard, you're too talented. Is that the same feeling you and your camp have as you progress through this season right now?
I mean, for me, I mean, I don't really want to put pressure on myself to win anything. I mean, I do hope to win these big titles and everything, and I think I can speak for my camp. They definitely feel the same way as her. As for me, I think I feel the same way a little bit, but also I'm trying to just stay in the moment and take it one match at a time. I feel like if I look too far ahead, and then I'm putting pressure on myself for something that might not even happen. So I think for me, just enjoying one match at a time. But for sure, my team, you know, I would hope they would would think that. Otherwise, they probably wouldn't believe in me. So yeah.
Great, thanks everyone.
Thank you.